Hey everybody, this is Mark from Dice Monkey. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I'm going to be doing an unboxing today. I just got in Street Masters from Blacklist Games, and it's designed by Brady Sadler and Adam Sadler. Um, it was a Kickstarter that just recently began fulfilling, and it's got sent out to all the backers by this point, I think. Coming in the fall, they're going to be doing another Kickstarter that's a reprint, so they can hopefully get it to retail, as well as some more expansions. But they ended up sending me all of the Kickstarter stuff for me to review, so there's going to be some video reviews coming soon, and then also written reviews of each one of the products that I'm going to show you today. So today I'm going to go through and I'm going to open each of the boxes and show you what's inside. The game is sort of a mashup of Street Fighter / Streets of Rage / Double Dragon meets Sentinels of the Multiverse, which I think sounds like an odd combination, but it's not. Basically, each person has it's cooperative. Each person has their own deck of cards and miniature, and then you also choose a location, and then you also choose a villain, and that determines like which miniatures are going to be used for the villain side. And then the villain deck and the environment deck all then work against the heroes as they're trying to fight the bad guys. So it's all very much themed on like late 1980s, early 1990s arcade games. There's definitely a lot of things that I see that I'm like, oh, that's definitely a Street Fighter character. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening these. So here's the main box. It's the same size as 4 of the other boxes, but it's quite a bit heavier than the others. So the quality, it's a kind of a satin, which is really nice. That's what I prefer for my board game boxes rather than that sort of like bumpy material. So it's a really nice, smooth one. There's all the big pictures on the back which show the game setup. If I saw this on the shelf, I think I would definitely pick it up after seeing that cover. And then looking at the back, that interests me enough, seeing everything on there to actually want to go out and do a little bit of research on Board Game Geek before picking up, because I assume this is going to be pretty expensive just because of its weight and all the stuff that's inside. So I would definitely not be impulse buying this, but it's enough to get me interested, so I like it. So let's go ahead and pop this open. I did already pull off the plastic on everything just to make it quicker. So there's the rule book. It is 16 pages. I've heard the rule book is pretty clear and concise and tells everything. It looks like there's lots of different examples in here, lots of pictures showing, different symbols and stuff like that, rather than telling you like what types of tokens to use, but never actually showing a picture of the tokens, which is irritating to no end to me. So looks like it's got some good examples in here, so I'll be reading that later. We've got lots of tokens. There's one sheet of some hands, some kicking feet, and some fists. There's another sheet of tokens, more of those, and then also some, there we go, let's put it up right, some different bad guys, I think, on there. We got, looks like damage tokens. Yeah, is that up right? Yep. Those are cool because the ones have just a couple of blood splatters. The 5s have more, 10s have more than the 25s. Are just coated in blood. Looks like we got some boards here. These are each double-sided. And I really like the art on them. I'm going to bring this up closer for you to see. They're pretty detailed. And I can still see what is supposed to be on the boards underneath the symbols. A lot of times I found on some games it's really obnoxious, where you can't quite tell what's going on the board, what it's supposed to represent, because it's so covered in symbols that you can't make out anything. So there's one map. There's two. Also, I'm noticing, I'm gonna go ahead and guess here. There's these little joystick symbols. I'm gonna guess that's where the players set up, which I think is really clever. Yeah, because the game is for up to 4 players, and there's 4 joysticks on each map. This one has them on each corner. This is an office building here. You can see there's a conference table there in the center, and it looks like a computer server room or something like that there. And there's another map. Oh, here's a casino, looks like. Is that? Yeah, there's a casino there. So lots of entertaining places to fight. There's 4 map boards, so 8 maps total. So now we have, I really like that miniatures companies are doing this. They did this with the Ghostbusters miniatures game, or board game as well, where there's individual slots in plastic for each one of the miniatures. Makes it really easy to spot which figures you're going to be needing to grab. There's a bunch of little colored bases that you can put on your miniatures. There's some of the red dice, some of the white dice, and then you can see down here there's lots of cards. And the great thing is that there's this little black plastic card holder, so you'll be able to, and it looks like they actually provided enough space for you to be able to sleeve those cards and get them all in there, which is good. I'll see once I start playing whether or not it's something that I feel like needs to be sleeved. I don't sleeve everything, but some things I do, just because, wear and tear and stuff like that. Looks like there's some smaller cards as well. So there's 3 different sizes of cards. There's your standard set. This is the stage deck, it says. So I don't know if you randomly pull this to see which stage you're going to be playing in. Those cards are almost square, but not quite. So I don't think those are able to be sleeved unless I'll have to go out online and see what people use for that. So there's not just this one layer of miniatures. Let's see. Oh. When I pulled this out at an angle, a bunch of miniatures fell out. I'm assuming that if I leave this flat, they'll be secure. But there's a second layer of miniatures and an entire 3rd layer as well. So there's a lot of miniatures in this. The quality on them is pretty good. I can see all the details. In fact, it looks like some of them have been glued together, which means that there was extra effort done at the factory to get the figures assembled. It also means they weren't trying to make sure their builds were done in a way that they could get them all printed in a single piece, which usually makes the sculpts a lot more boring. They actually put the effort in. There's a lot of detail in the miniatures. The plastic's a really nice solid plastic. This guy has a little bow staff here, and it's bent a little bit, but not too much. A lot better than I've seen for a lot of figures. Here's this big dude who's on the cover of the box. He's green, so he's sort of a Blanca from Street Fighter type guy there. Yeah, the miniatures are really solid. There's always on the board. You not only have the villain, but you also have all of his minions. So there's a ton of different minion dudes, various 1980s style gang members with their mohawks and stuff like that. Next, I'm going to open up the Stretchables box. This is a big black box that's very Like it doesn't have anything on the back for like marketing or anything like that. So I assume this is not going to be seen in stores. It's just like individual stretch goals. Probably some exclusives. I need to go back online and check out the Kickstarter and see which are exclusives and things like that. So I know what's actually going to be available in stores and what's not. So here is another sheet of tokens here, and there's another map here. Here's what's contained inside. So it looks like there's some stacks of cards. Here's some more of those squarish cards. And then we've got a bunch of different characters in here. There's a big bear dude who I think it's a panda bear based on the box. Harley Quinn looking figure. Just a bunch of different. I think these are all villains for the game. I'm not sure. I'll have to go through and find that out. This guy has a tiger head, but a human body. The card here, if I can get this out, shows that he's got like a fully human body. So yeah, it's basically just a bunch more miniatures, like individual miniatures, not minions, because there's not multiple copies of any of these. So again, I'll be doing reviews of each individual one of these boxes. Get that out of the way. All right. So this is The Legend of Oni. Let's see. This is an exclusive expansion, and it's focused on ninjas for the most part, it looks like. It's a lot lighter than the Mainstream Masters box, but it's the same size, so it'll look good on the shelf. And I have all these stacked up next to each other, and they all have the same style across all of them, so they look really good together. And then the Stretch Goals box looks completely different. So I've noticed that in the Stretch Goals box and this, they both have this clear plastic, which is really nice because it means that you can stack things on top of the box, and it's going to be able to support it because it goes right up against the lid, and so it'll be able to support and you won't end up with your boxes breaking. So here's another sheet. This one, that's a brand new. This is on the back. It says Fire. So it looks like there's some new mechanics in this set. There's another map. Let's see. There's that one, and then that one there. There's two maps. This is a cool. Oh, it's a big pavilion there, and then that there, and here's what's inside. Yeah, those are clear plastic miniatures. Looks like some ninjas. A really cool pose. So those ones, if I go through and paint everything, those ones, I'll probably paint the base, so look, at least you know that they've had some effort put into them as far as painting goes, but I'll probably leave the miniatures completely clear. Especially because they aren't perfectly clear, they're sort of like a yellowish, greenish hue, but very faint. It's almost completely clear. There's the same ninjas who are not clear, so I'm guessing they're just two different forms of the same guys. There's a couple of individual characters like this guy, who I think is the Oni spoken of on the box. There is another stack of cards, and some more of those rings, and some more of those other cards. And this, all of them have this box, but they're all laid out in different ways. So I'm sure there'll be some good ways to sort of like stack these things in boxes so that they you can easily sort through and everything makes sense. There's only one layer of miniatures in this box, which explains why it was a lot lighter. So that's pretty cool. Then, gotta put that clear plastic back on top. Then what we've got is Twin Tiger, which is basically your Double Dragon expansion. This actually features the Sadler brothers on it, but they've got brand new names. They're Axel and Reese. And there we go. So another one of those clear plastics. Got another sheet of tokens, and only one map in here. Looks like a construction site and a sewer as well. Here's what we get inside. We've got a bunch more rings, more of those square cards, and some more decks of cards. And then we've got more miniatures. So it's very much like the Legend of Oni expansion. So just a few more miniatures. One thing I did notice is that there's no rule books in these expansions, which means that any new rules that come into play should be found on these cards. So like I said that in that Oni thing there was the brand new fire tokens. So I'm guessing that like the mechanics for fire are found in these decks, which I like, which means I'm not flipping through multiple rule books. If I end up mixing all the sets together to play, I don't have to try to track down where exactly that rule is found. It's all going to be in a single place. I didn't show you guys the back of this right here. So it's got the big Twin Tiger logo, and then all the stuff inside. And each one of these has a little piece of flavor text on the back that explains what's going on with this expansion. Finally, we have the Redemption box. So this is a thinner box, and looking at the back, it says that you can basically play the villains of Street Fighters or Street Masters as heroes. So these are hero decks for your villains. So you can actually play them as. So once you've gone through and there's a whole story mode in these, so you can actually play through storylines and stuff like that. Besides just doing arcade mode where you can beat up the bad guys. So once you've gone through the whole story and defeated your enemies, you can then go through and play the villains. So there is one set of tokens, and there's another set, and then it's just each character's decks in here, and then more of those square ones. So that's everything that's in the box. I'm going to be sitting down and playing this hopefully like a few times over the next week or so, give it a try, see what's going on with it, and then I'll report back and let you guys know how it is. I'm going to try to do some video reviews as well as written reviews, so look for both of those on YouTube and then also on dicemonkey.net. Thanks.